So now Lima is the capital of Peru in South America. Julius Caesar, he was a Roman emperor. Even when you go now, you can see the statue of this. Our history is full of stories of great kings and their great achievements, right? The main theme is socio-political theme, and it deals with the social injustice against the working class. Welcome dear students. I am Mrs. Reena, lecturer, Department of English at Vidhyaashram First Grade College, Mysuru. Today, in this session, let us discuss the poem Questions from a Worker Who Reads of B.B.A. second semester. So here, we will be going through the introduction to the poet, introduction to the poem, summary of the poem and theme of the poem. So, this poem was written by Eugen Bertold Frederick Brecht, okay, and he was professionally known as Bertolt Brecht. Okay, so he was born on 10th February 1898 and he lived up to 14th August 1956. He was a German theatre practitioner, playwright and poet. So, he is known for his plays like The Three Penny Opera, Galileo, Good Person, Szechwan. Okay, so these are some of his important works. So now, coming to the poem Questions from a Worker Who Reads shows poet limitless compassion towards the working class. Here he argues or he implies that the workers are the basic foundation of the political, economic and social aspect of a society. So here he says that the laborers or the working class, they are the foundation of the political, economic and social aspects of the society. And here the poet says that throughout the history, the workers or the laborers have worked hardly to build the different forts, palaces, cities and also to win wars. So, but the name and the reputation which was achieved was always given to the kings of that time. So, totally the working people, the workers who worked behind that was completely neglected, or they have not mentioned them anywhere in the book of history. So, let's recite the poem. Who built Thebes of the Seven Gates? In the books you will read the names of kings. Did the kings haul up the lumps of rock? And Babylon, many times demolished, who raised it up so many times? In what houses of gold glittering Lima did its builders live? Where the evening that the great wall of China was finished, did the masons go? Great Rome is full of triumphal arches. Who erected them? Over whom did the Caesars triumph? Had Byzantium much praised in song? Only palaces for its inhabitants. Even in fable Atlantis, the night that the ocean engulfed it, the drowning still cried out for their slaves. The young Alexander conquered India. Was he alone? Caesar defeated the Gauls. Did he not even have a cook with him? Philip of Spain wept when his armada went down. Was he the only one to weep? Frederick II won the 7 Years' War. Who else won it? Every page a victory. Who cooked the feast for the victors? Every 10 years, a great man who paid the bill. So many reports, so many questions. So when we read this poem, we came to know few things about our history. So here also, only the names of the kings were mentioned and the people who helped them were not mentioned in this poem. So this is a question here. Poet is asking so many questions. So many people, thousands of people are behind these kings and the great men who worked, who we read in the history. But why we have neglected that people? Okay, why we have neglected the hard work of the normal people or the normal workers? So let's analyze the poem. So who built Thebes of 7 gates? In the books you will read the names of kings. Did the kings haul up the lumps of rock? Okay, so here the poem begins with a question asking, who built Thebes of 7 gates? What is this Thebes? Thebes is a powerful city of central Greece. Okay, so that was a powerful city and it was a beautiful city built by so many people there. Okay, so only, and the poet is mentioning here, in the books you will read only the names of kings, right? So wherever you go, so when I ask you the question, who built Taj Mahal? Definitely you will say it was built by Shah Jahan. You will not mention all the masons or the other workers, those who were behind them. The name only, the people who struggled were left out. Only the name of the king is mentioned everywhere, right? So here also the poet is asking us the question, where are they? Why these people are neglected? Why these laborers, those who struggled are not mentioned in the books of history? Again, he is asking the question, did the kings haul up the lumps of rock? Did the kings carry the bricks or rocks to build the cities or forts or palaces? He is asking us, no, it's not the kings, it's the masons and other workers who carried, and they have built the cities, palaces, forts, etc. So here the poet implies that there is no mention of the laborers who strive to build it. Okay, but only the names of the kings are mentioned. Next one, and Babylon many times demolished. Who raised it up so many times? Again the question. Again is asking the question here. Again there is a question. So Babylon, it is a great ancient city of Mesopotamia. So it was destroyed so many times during the wars. Okay, and again it was rebuilt. So who built this? Is it the king or the laborers? So it is the workers, the masons who rebuilt the Babylon city. Okay, so when we read about the Babylon city, we will not read out the names of the workers there. We will only read the names of the kings, for example, like Nebuchadnezzar, or who built the hanging garden. So everything, the name goes only to the kings. So Babylon, it was a city which was demolished so many times and it was rebuilt again and again by the workers. So poet is asking, who was that who rebuilt this? Next one, in what houses of gold glittering Lima did its builders live? Where the evening that the Great Wall of China was finished, did the masons go? So here he is asking, so now Lima is the capital of Peru in South America. So it's a beautiful city and most of the people go for a trip there, right? So and they enjoy that place and come. But who built that? The poet is asking, who built that and where did the people go after building that? Whether they were given the provisions which they needed or they were left out like that. So he is asking us, where are they? He asking, so in history also they have mentioned only the name of that place and the king. So they have not mentioned the name of the workers. So it's and again, when coming to the Great Wall of China, so it's also wonder. So he's asking, it also took so many years to build Great Wall of China, and the name of the king is mentioned there, and the poet is questioning, where are the masons who built? Okay, so who built that Great Wall of China now, or where did they go after building that wall? So where the kings provided them the palace, or where they gave any provisions for them, like, so here the poet is asking us whether these people, these workers, were provided with the luxurious life. So now they are getting the name and reputation or fame because of that people. The kings received the name and fame because of the hard work of these people. So here there is a question whether the kings treated the workers equally, or whether they have provided them a luxurious life. No, only they enjoyed the fame and reputation. These people remained the same. Next, Great Rome is full of triumphal arches. Who erected them? So here, Rome, when we go to Rome, you can see so many statues, arches, everything, triumphal arches. They built so many arches or statues to celebrate the victory of different Roman kings. Right? So here again he is asking a question, who built that arches? Whether the Roman emperors built or the workers built that? It was the workers. So over whom did the Caesars triumph? So Julius Caesar, he was a Roman emperor. Even when you go now, you can see the statue of this Roman emperor there, whether he built that or the people who built his statues, whether the king itself or the people behind him. Caesar, he had won so many wars against, for example, Pompey and all. So did he fight alone there? No, he didn't fight alone there. Who was behind his victory? Behind his victory, there were many soldiers. Have they mentioned the names of the soldiers in the history book? No. Only name of Caesar, Julius Caesar is mentioned there. So many people, so many soldiers were behind his victory. They are not mentioned in the book. Next, had Byzantium much praised in song only palaces for its inhabitants? So Byzantium, it is in Istanbul. So the city of Byzantium, the present Istanbul of Turkey, this city is known for palaces. It is known for so many palaces, right? So now, whether the kings build the palaces or the workers build the palaces. Now here the poet again is asking the questions. The city is known for its palaces. So many people, so many laborers have labored to build the palace. So whether they are living in the same palace, whether the kings provided them the palace or whether they enjoyed the life of the palace. No, only the kings enjoyed the life in the palace, but those who built the palace were left behind. So here again he is asking whether the kings of Byzantium treat their subject as their equal. Never. They didn't treat the workers as equal. Next, even in fabled Atlantis, the night that the ocean engulfed it, the drowning still cried out for their slaves. So here, the poet cites the fabled island Atlantis of Greek mythology. So, Atlantis was known for its naval prowess. Okay, it was known for its naval prowess. So, it was eventually submerged in Atlantic Ocean. Okay, so the people of Atlantis treated their slaves with compassion. Okay, the people of Atlantis treated their slaves with compassion. So when this island Atlantis was submerged. Okay, so many kings and also so many people were there, so many slaves were there. So when they went through this crisis, all the people together, not only the king, so along with the king, so many people were there to share his feelings or his sufferings there. So here, the young Alexander conquered India. Was he alone? So Alexander was known for his conquest, and he was the king of Macedonia who conquered India, right? So the young Alexander, so when he conquered India, again the question arises, was he alone? Did he do that alone? So he had so many soldiers who helped him to conquer India. Next, Caesar defeated the Gauls. Gauls means here it belongs the tribes of Celtic race. Okay, the present day France, Germany. So Caesar defeated the Gauls. Gauls means here it is the tribes of Celtic race. So that is the present day France, Belgium and Germany. Here again there is a question whether Caesar alone defeated them. So it was not Caesar and Alexander. They didn't do their work. They didn't conquer the other nations alone. It was along with their soldiers. Then, did he not even have a cook with him? Philip of Spain wept. So here he is asking, here is reminding about the cooks who cooked for them. So when we have to go for a fight or whatever, when we have to do some work, we need energy, right? So that we have to eat food. So to food, simply we cannot eat that. We have to, there is a person to cook the food and serve them. So here is reminding or about the works of a cook. Next, Philip of Spain wept with his armada went down. Was he the only one to weep? So here when Philip underwent some crisis in his during his war, so other people were also there with him to cry. Next, Frederick II, he second won the 7-year war. So again he is asking who else won it. So Alexander, as I said, Alexander conquest of India and Caesar's conquest of Gauls. These were major achievements in the history, and they alone didn't do that. They had so many soldiers and other labor behind them and behind their victory. So many soldiers and labor class are ignored here. So King Philip of Spain, okay, was distraught when the Spanish Armada, this is the fleet, Armada is a fleet of warships. So this was distraught and were destroyed by English in the year 1588. Okay, so he was defeated by the Englishmen. So here the question is whether during that period, whether he was alone to weep or along with him, whether his soldiers and other workers were there or not. So he was not alone there to weep. So he was accompanied with his soldiers and other people during his disaster. Next one, King Frederick II of Prussia. He was involved in 7-year war that was between the Great Britain and France, which took place during 1746 to 1763, which took place between 1746 to 1763. Next comes King Frederick II of Prussia. So he was the person, okay, he was involved in a 7-year war that was between Great Britain and France. It was from the 7-year war was from 1746 to 1763. So here King Frederick II, he emerged as victorious. So here again there's a question whether he fought alone or not. So he was not the person who fought alone. He had so many soldiers and other workers who helped to emerge as victorious. Next, At last, every page a victory, who cooked the feast for the victors, every 10 years a great man who paid the bill. So many reports, so many questions. Okay, so here our history is full of stories of great kings and their great achievements, right? So when we read our history, you will come across so many kings' name and their great achievements. Okay, but this would not have been possible without the help of, or without the soldiers and the laborers who were instrumental in fighting the wars, and laborers who erected beautiful palaces for their kings. The credit for all the victories should be shared with both the workers as well as the kings. Okay, so here the poet, he says that the victory which was achieved by the kings, it has to be shared with both the workers or the soldiers and also the kings. At last, the poet is saying the credit of these victories should be shared even with the soldiers and other workers. Not only to mention the names of the kings in the book or history, so we have to think about we have to recall the names of the workers and the soldiers who were behind that. So it's impossible to write the names of so many soldiers and workers in the book of history, but still we have to remember them. We have to remember their works and their hard work. Next, coming to the theme, the poem deals with a socio-political theme. So the poem deals with a socio-political theme. It deals with the theme of social injustice. It deals with the theme of social injustice against the working class people and the political theme of invisible power of the rulers. So the main theme is socio-political theme, and it deals with the social injustice against the working class. Hope you understood this poem. Read the poem well and you should be able to answer all the questions asked during your examination, especially the annotations. In the next session, let us discuss the language component. Thank you. Stay safe and healthy.